Welcome to the Understanding PCOS in Teens World webinar. This is collaboratively held by Undercovered Health and PCOS Awareness Association. Here's our schedule for today. First, we're going to hear from our expert speakers from PCOS Awareness Association. Then we're going to do a snack investigation led by Undercovered Health, and we're just going to go over some resources and questions that you might have. So first, let's meet our speakers.
My name is Faith. I'm a programs and advocacy co-chair for the PCOS Awareness Association. I'm also a student studying naturopathic medicine currently. I'm dedicated to raising awareness by those affected by PCOS, especially teens and young adults with new diagnosis. So I have a passion for integrative approaches to hormone health, and I seek to make complex health information approachable, empowering young people to advocate for their bodies with confidence.
And I'm Christine. I am co-chair for the PCOS Awareness Association Programs and Advocacies, and I'm a certified health coach and registered dental hygienist. I am passionate about supporting women with PCOS by making complex health information clear and approachable, with a focus on hormones, inflammation, and whole body health. I really want to empower women to better understand their bodies and take sustainable steps towards their health.
Okay, so now we'll be going over the presentation created by the PCS Awareness Association. So, Faith, do you want to share your presentation on your screen or should I just share it?
I can share it.
Okay.
Do you see this?
Not yet.
Yes, I do.
Okay, so Christine, we'll start with Christine.
Yeah. So we just want to say welcome. This is Understanding PCOS, a guide for teens and young adults. Welcome to the Teens of Teal program, where we believe every young person deserves proper health care and support on their PCOS journey.
So first, let's start with what is PCOS? So PCOS is a common hormone metabolic condition that affects 1 in 10 women of reproductive age. So despite its name, you actually don't need to have cysts on your ovaries to have PCOS. So it's a complex condition that affects hormones, metabolism, and reproductive health. But the good news is with proper care, you can live a healthy, fulfilling life.
Some common PCOS symptoms in teens are irregular periods, missing your period, or having very long cycles or unpredictable bleeding patterns are often some of the first signs noticed during adolescence. As well, weight changes, unexplained weight gain, or difficulties losing weight, particularly around the midsection or stomach, can be an early indicator. And then there's skin and hair changes, acne that doesn't respond to typical treatments, excessive hair growth in areas that typically don't have hair growth, or hair thinning can all be a sign of hormonal imbalances. As well, there's some symptoms related to fatigue and mood. So, persistent tiredness, mood swings, or feeling overwhelmed can all be connected to PCOS-related hormone fluctuations.
So what is happening in PCOS? So in PCOS, the brain and ovaries aren't communicating properly. So the brain sends out two hormones, LH, which is luteinizing hormone, and FSH, which is follicle stimulating hormone. In PCOS, there is too much LH being produced relative to FSH. This can lead to acne, extra hair growth, or hair thinning. At the same time, the low FSH makes it harder for the eggs to fully develop, so many small immature eggs build up instead of one being released. When an egg isn't released during ovulation, it can lead to missed periods or irregular periods. And on top of that, something called insulin resistance can make PCOS symptoms even worse. So this is what ovaries can look like in PCOS. So sometimes you'll see many small follicles that didn't fully develop, but not everyone that has PCOS has this appearance. Now, you can have one ovary that has this appearance, both ovaries may look this way, or neither. It really depends on the person. So PCOS isn't diagnosed based off of this presentation alone. And so, what is insulin resistance? Like we said, can make PCOS symptoms worse. So, insulin is a very important hormone in our body that's secreted by the pancreas. Insulin helps bring sugar into our cells because our cells need sugar to function properly. So, without insulin being able to bring glucose into our cells can't function. And so, this can exacerbate and make worse symptoms of PCOS like acne, hair growth, or hair loss, and can cause the ovaries to produce too many androgens or too many male type hormones.
So, diagnosing PCOS in teens, doctors are usually looking for two main things. The first one is irregular periods. So, periods that stay unpredictable well after they should have settled into a pattern. So, this might be someone that got their period at, let's say, age 15, and at age 17, they still come and go at any time, stay for any amount of time. That's what we're talking about an unpredictable and not settling into a pattern. The second symptom is signs of higher androgens or male type hormones. So, moderate to severe acne, extra hair growth on the face, chest, or stomach, or a confirmed high androgen on a blood test would all fit this criteria for diagnosis. And it's also important to remember that male type hormones are normal in all bodies, including females. In PCOS, higher levels of these hormones can disrupt the body's natural hormone balance and affect things like periods, skin, and hair.
So, why does early diagnosis matter for young adults and teens specifically? So, 70% of people with PCOS go undiagnosed, leading to longer delays getting proper care. So, on average, from the first time that you experience symptoms of someone with PCOS, it takes around 2 to 3 years to get that proper PCOS diagnosis. Young people with undiagnosed PCOS face an increased risk of diabetes and heart disease later in life, 5 times higher risk, which is important that getting early diagnosis and recognizing the signs and symptoms is important.
So, getting diagnosed, what to expect. First of all, you'd like to track your symptoms. Keeping a record of your periods, your symptoms, and how you're feeling. This information can really help doctors understand your experience. And there's some fantastic apps out there that can help with this. So you have a record for multiple months so that you can see if there is some sort of pattern or not. Second, blood tests. Your doctor will want to check hormone levels, blood sugar, and cholesterol. These tests are usually done in the morning when hormones are most stable. And then a pelvic ultrasound, which is a scan that looks at your ovaries. And don't worry, this shouldn't be painful and it can be done externally for teens. There's an alternate blood test, AMH, that can also be assessed as an alternate to a pelvic ultrasound in teens. And then it's also important to rule out other conditions. So your doctor will make sure that your symptoms aren't caused by other conditions like a thyroid problem, for example.
So, research shows that teens with PCOS often experience higher rates of anxiety and depression. So, this could be due to the hormonal changes that occur, physical symptoms, and feeling different from peers can often be overwhelming. So, it's important to remember that those feelings are valid, common, and manageable. So, mental health support is a very important part of PCOS care as well.
So, a little bit about PCOS Awareness Association is it is run by women with PCOS. Our organization is led by women who truly understand this PCOS journey because we have lived it ourselves and continue to live it ourselves. We also would like you to know that we do have medical directors on staff. So all information that you're going to find on anything of ours is reviewed and approved by a qualified medical professional to ensure accuracy. We want you to know that we are community focused. We connect people with PCOS to proper resources, support networks, and the community that they need to thrive.
So we have various different programs and events that we offer all year round. So one of our main events is called PCOS Con. So it's an annual event that is done either virtually or in person, and it's a conference that can feature healthcare professionals like medical doctors, nutritionists, and PCOS advocates as well that share the latest PCOS research and support strategies. We also have community events like workshops and support groups that help bring the PCOS community together for learning and connecting with one another. For teens specifically, we have exclusive PCOS planners, journals, and educational materials that are designed specifically for teens, young adults, and newly diagnosed individuals that are, again, overseen by medical professionals.
So we would love for you to join our community. You can follow us for daily support, connect with thousands of young people navigating PCOS together, give tips, shared experience, and find the community that you deserve. Included is daily motivation, PCOS tips, real stories from teens like you, expert advice and question and answer sessions, and exclusive content for young adults.
So your PCOS journey can start here. So taking the first step is talking to a healthcare provider about your symptoms. And, if you are diagnosed, connecting with your community, like the PCOS Awareness Association, taking early action and seeing where you can get help as well.
So we have some resources that we like to share. These are the mental health resources. There is a text-specific PCOS crisis line that we've included, as well as many other ones, and a teen line for our younger PCOS AA members, 13 to 19. We want you to know that it's confidential, it's peer-to-peer emotional support. And you can see that number there that you could text or call. Here are a few more that we have as well. If you need more resources or different resources, we try to have something for everyone.
And we have our own resources. So below you can find our PCOS AA resources. So like we said, our program for teens is called Teens of Teal. So we have a teen guide for living with PCOS. So this helps teens, young adults, and newly diagnosed individuals make sense of their diagnosis and connect with their bodies and learn kind of how to navigate that new diagnosis and how to navigate doctor's appointments. We also have our PCOS AA website to learn more about our initiatives and PCOS Con. We have a global PCOS stories forum where you can share your story about living with PCOS. And we have a community platform called Shades of Teal that you can sign up as well for exclusive presentations, newsletters, and just connecting with your community there as well.
We also offer a PCOS AA support group. So this support group meets the second Wednesday of every month from 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern. It is run by Faith and myself, and we'd love to have you join. Just fill out the sign up form, which is a link provided here, so you could join us monthly.
Thank you guys for joining us. So if you have any questions, you feel free to email us at my email or Christine's email. We're happy to answer any questions that you have.
Now we're going to move on to the next portion of our webinar, which is the snack investigation led by Undercovered Health. So let's start. So what is Undercovered Health? We are a social media blog that raises awareness about the everyday lifestyle choices teenagers make and their impacts. I founded Undercovered Health because health advocacy allows us to live our healthiest lives and make smarter choices. And the first step to this is assessing our lifestyle. So, through Undercovered Health, I create posts on topics such as which lotions to avoid, why disregarding toxic nail polish is important, how fast food advertisements can influence our minds, and much more. You can check us out on Instagram at Undercovered Health and on YouTube at Undercovered Health. So we're gonna go get into our snack investigation. So I'd like to point out some major ingredients in Cheetos. So you've probably all heard of Cheetos. It's a popular snack that people eat for lunch or just like a quick, meal in the middle. So let's point out some major ingredients in this. So first we have enriched cornmeal, which means the flour is processed and it goes through a series of steps to get into that to get into that condition. And then we have vegetable oil and we have yellow 5 which is or yellow 6 which is an artificial color and maltodextrin. So we probably must have not heard about maltodextrin. It's kind of like a cornstarch which has a high glycemic index, like which means like a high GI, which can cause like blood sugar spikes and also spikes in insulin resistance. So, what's wrong with this Cheetos? First, it has unhealthy fats, which increases the risk of insulin resistance and heart disease. It also contains refined carbs through the enriched cornmeal, and it causes a jump in blood sugar levels, which leads to inflammation. And then this triggered inflammation changes blood sugar, which can cause an increase in stress hormones, also known as cortisol. So as you can see here through these ingredients, it's sort of like a chain reaction. So once one ingredient kind of like portrays its effects, then the next ingredient will start to do its next thing. So we started with our unhealthy fats and increase the risk of insulin resistance, and then that insulin resistance can cause like a jump in blood sugar levels, which are going to lead to inflammation, and then the triggered inflammation is going to cause spikes in blood sugar, which is going to indirectly cause an increase in stress hormones or cortisol. So it's sort of like it's kind of like a domino effect. It plays like one by one. So once one is hit, everything gets hit. So, what's an alternative to Cheetos? Obviously, we can't take away some of our favorite snacks, but we can definitely find an alternative to it. And that alternative is Hippies. It's a chickpea puff, kind of like Cheeto Puffs, and it has the same nacho and cheesy flavor as Cheetos. So, here are some ingredients, and I wanted to point out some of the really, really good ingredients in Hippies. First, we have chickpea flour. Notice how it's not enriched, it's chickpea flour, which has a bunch of benefits better than just regular wheat flour. And also, Hippies is USDA organic, so all the ingredients here are organic certified. Then we also have sunflower oil. Usually, I would say sunflower oil is bad, but we have to make note that this is like USDA organic certified. So this does mean that the sunflower oil is organic. So we know it's coming from the natural source. It's not being processed by synthetics or preservatives. And then we have onion powder, like yellow pea flour, another alternative to enriched, cornmeal. And notice how like they don't use a bunch of chemicals like maltodextrin. They use actual flavors and actual spices that are meant to flavor food, not just a bunch of chemicals. So the one ingredient that really, really spotted out in this hippie snack is chickpea flour. So flour has a low glycemic index or low GI, which prevents spikes in blood sugar and insulin compared to the maltodextrin, which causes a high GI. So, chickpea flour is also high in protein and fiber, which aids in hormone metabolism, which is really important for PCOS. It also contains polyphenols and phytochemicals, which are like anti-inflammatory, which helps fight chronic inflammation that happens in PCOS. And like I mentioned before, it doesn't contain any artificial flavors like Cheeto does. The brand uses actual spices like garlic powder, onion powder, rosemary, etc., which are meant to flavor food. So obviously we can see that this is the healthier alternative. So you don't have to like let go of something you love right away. You can always find an alternative to it, and you can find more alternatives to your favorite body care products, food products at Undercovered Health as well. So now we're going to move on to the resources and questions section. So I know this is like all online, but if you still have any questions that you'd like to ask, you can feel free to message Undercovered Health on Instagram, and then I can always take that question to our PCS experts so they can answer them for you guys. And then Here are some teen-centered resources to help navigate PCOS provided by the PCOS Awareness Association alongside to the ones they mentioned in their presentation. We have the teen guide with for real life with PCOS and the presentation as well. I'll be linking into the bio of the post. So thank you for joining this presentation. You can contact PCOS Awareness Association through their Instagram and YouTube, or you can email them, or you can even email Faith and Christine. And then you can email Undercovered Health on our Instagram. You can contact us on our Instagram and YouTube at Undercovered Health. And then our email is undercoveredhealth8@gmail.com. So thank you guys for watching this. And yeah, hopefully this helped navigate your PCS journey. Thank you.